Try to initiate release sequencer. On my mark.
5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
And me, DK, the only co-host needed.
Suck it, Dan. Bringing your sort of weekly, not really weekly, semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. Hello, DK. How the heck are you? Nice to see you.
I'm doing okay. Minus a little bout of gastrointestinal distress, which I'm sure, of course, you can't appreciate in the slightest.
No. I've my gut is like a iron trap. It's solid, and nothing gets out. Nice to see you, chat. Welcome in. Very nice to see you guys. There's well, I'd say a large portion of you. There's two in chat that have said that you guys are driving and twitching, which is potentially a dangerous combination unless it's just the audio that you listen to the sweet dulcet tones of G&D and DK.
We don't condone unsafe driving, though.
No, we don't. But if just a really quick plug, if I may, if talkback radio is the thing that you enjoy, over on the Blueson channel tonight, he is embarking into his own talkback radio show. He's taken on a persona who's Trevor Maylock, I think, or something. I can't remember the name of the guy, but essentially he's on his stream. He's going to do a 2 a.m. style talkback radio show with call-in guests and stuff. So if you want to check out some mildly amusing banter, exclamation Blueson in chat, go check his channel out a bit later on tonight. Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be
you
fun.
Damn theater kids and your antics.
Failed theater kids. I took physics like an idiot. Like that's ever helped me. But yeah, that's no good, man. You've been in the wars a little bit. It sucks.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the mend now, which is good. And as I was telling you before the show, the weirdest thing is that this exact same thing happened at the exact same time last year, like right before I was supposed to go to Colorado.
Yeah.
But then it kind of just cleared up and went away, and WCT went reasonably well, at least from that standpoint. Maybe not in some other ways, but
what's that like?
Who knows? Maybe it's just the stresses of planning Colorado tournaments. It just wreaks havoc on the gut.
Yeah, the gut's like, oh, it could get snowy.
Yeah, that and reading dog shit student papers, but whatever.
Yeah, the cause of all your stress in life.
Might be onto something there.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll talk about Colorado in a minute. There's a couple things I kind of wanted to touch on. So, I mentioned last night I was guesting again over at Blueson's channel. I touched on it last night. I got a box in the post. And it was from America. So I'm always, whenever I get international mail, I'm both excited and skeptical because I was like, I don't remember ordering anything. That's dodgy.
Is it ticking? Don't open it.
Don't open that, yeah. But I got a little care package in the box, and I opened it up, and this little thing here was staring me in the face. I shall read it to you. It says, "A gift for you." And which is cool because I'm you in this instance. It says, "Thank you for using Tiltify to support causes you care about. Keep up the amazing work, Tiltify community team." Now, for those of you who don't know what Tiltify is the program that we used during the charity stream. In fact, during our charity streams now, to raise funds with. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So they sent a little care package through. The first thing as part of that care package was this nifty little badge here, the 7.5k Tiltify lifetime earned raising, which is really cool, little pin, which is badass in itself. But they also sent through this cool thing, this banner. They sent a banner through. We could be like the NBA and hang banners from the ceiling.
That's right.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually in the process of designing something to go right here in the middle, which I thought when I first got it, I was like, that's really random. Why did they leave a massive blank spot on the banner? Surely they could have put something there. And then I was like, oh wait, I think that's
Like the channel logo.
Look at banner, Michael. Family love Michael. That's what I'm gonna put here is family love Michael, right in the middle. But yes, I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put the Resupply logo right smack bang in the middle. So I'm gonna endeavor to have that done in the next week or two, depending on how busy things get with production.
They're my awards, Mother, from Army.
This one's for marksmanship. The seal is for bravery. What a reference. So yeah, that was really cool. That was a nice little cool thing to get in the post. So I was really stoked about that when I opened the box. I just wanna also say a massive thank you to anyone who's donated to the charities that we raise funds for. We've been I think we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago, but Hogwarts Legacy is a game that got released recently, and obviously the game has a lot of controversy surrounding it because obviously she who shall not be named is a bit of a hateful bigot, just a little bit of a hateful bigot, and by that I mean a lot. She's a fucking trash person. And it's a real shame because her shittiness has put a real stink palm on what is otherwise an amazing video game. I played we played a bunch on stream, and the game is excellent. The developers have done a really, really good job. It's just it has like a stinky, aura to the game because of.
Hence why I think your fundraising cause, I think, is a good way to try to bring balance to the force as you would.
Yeah. So we've got a small soapbox here that we use to loudly shout from to our tens of you who watch our content. And I wanted to use the game, which in itself I think is an excellent game, to contribute some positivity to to the world. So what we decided was for our Hogwarts playthrough, we were raising funds for Rainbow Youth New Zealand. And I'll read it right from the thing. Rainbow Youth New Zealand is an advocacy group here in New Zealand. They work towards creating social change by providing support, information, resources, and advocacy for queer, gender diverse, takatapui, and intersex young people across Aotearoa, New Zealand. So, as a result of our community, of you guys, we've so far raised $600 for that cause, which is really awesome. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for choosing to do that with your money, because it's important. It's really important that people stand up for those communities that are marginalized and shit on by trash people. So I know that there's actually a few people in our communities or in the wider Twitch communities especially that have used Rainbow Youth services. So it's nice to be able to give back to a cause that basically our wider family, it's been important for them on their journey of self-discovery and who they are as people. So
for sure,
thank you guys for indulging me and watching me play video games during the week, and choosing to donate your funds to an exceptional cause. So thank you guys so much. Right. What did you do on the off week? we obviously weren't here last week.
Aside from just hang out at the Porcelain Palace.
Yeah. Have you been up to much? Have you been? Did you go
No,
away,
not
or have you
really.
just been like shitting your
Uh,
pants?
well, been trying to avoid that last one for
Yeah.
sure. But it's also been that, and I know this is kind of a taboo subject in New Zealand. It's been a little rainy here, so been a little bit more indoors, but just kind of resting, recouping. But otherwise, looking forward big time to traveling to Colorado, play some laser tag next week.
Oh, hell yeah. We're gonna talk about that as well because I know a lot of people are really excited about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we obviously got hit by some extreme weather events recently. Hopefully we're kind of at the tail end of that. But they did had a little bit more rain last week, and I went away last weekend, which is why we didn't do a show. I went up to my brother's up north, and me and him played in a local disc golf tournament that they had, a little charity event that they put up in his local course, and I managed to smash him on his home course, which I was really happy about.
Good, good.
Yeah. I was worried going in because I've never beat my brother at disc golf, which is really infuriating because he's been playing like half a year less than I have. He immediately was like good at playing. I was like, okay, I'm glad that now we get something to do together, but I'm also gutted because I hate losing.
This is my thing.
Throw discs, not fists. Oh, that's so good. Oh,
I think I smell a new shirt.
yeah, that's such a good slogan, man. I might have to. Ooh, I'm gonna have to design something for that. That's real cool. Did you think of that, Jen? That's awesome.
I believe our own Disco Stu would approve.
Yeah. Oh wow. But yeah, so that's so good. So we will be while I was up there, actually we had another weather event, and they got more flooding up north. Not so much around Auckland, but I think it was a lot up north, and then sort of further down the country. Yeah, so she's doing it tough at the moment, the old Kiwis. But hopefully we're kind of at the tail end of that. But the reason I bring it up, I went in to see ownership this week at Auckland Laser Force because I hadn't heard anything for about a week and a half, and I know that they've been busy putting stuff together and trying to get business back up and running. So I had a chat about just about timelines and stuff, and they said that they're still just waiting on the insurance payout. And once that happens, they can begin construction again. So, and there's a bit of a backlog in terms of like insurance companies doing claims.
You don't say.
Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, everything has been teed up and is ready to go. So once they push go, I think they said roughly 4 to 6 weeks for reopen. And so that means that puts the reopen date for Auckland Laser Force at about early to mid-April is what they're looking for a reopening, which is cool.
That's great. That's not so bad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's been a minute since we played some tag. Did you miss anything important? Nah, bro. We're just getting into the good stuff. We were just.
Well, I mean, and that gives us like a almost 3-month cushion really until Nats. There's a little bit more of a delay. So
yeah. So
U.S. players who are a little worried about buying tickets and stuff like that, maybe we jump back on that now.
I know that there are people that are worried about it as well, and I have talked to ownership, and just to make sure like that, they're not like, oh, actually nah, we're not gonna bother. They're not thinking that at all. They're committed to reopening. They want to get reopened as fast as possible. And they're committed to, making sure that Nats is a great experience for everyone. So, And
That's awesome.
yeah, so they are on board with this tournament happening, and once construction is sorted, hopefully it means that we get like a better playing surface as well, because they were talking about putting rubber flooring in into the maze, so it might actually work out to be such a blessing for us as players, but we'll see. We'll I'll keep the community as updated as I can. I started a thread on the tournaments page just to have people who are confirmed or in the process of buying flights to let me know, so I can update the player list so people can see who's currently coming. I've heard from one person in Brisbane. But the majority of people I have heard from are from the States, which is pretty awesome. So go you guys. Go America.
America.
Oh, speaking of America, they opened a Wahlburgers here, like this week.
Cool.
Yeah, real cool. Oh, I didn't bring any water. I got coffee. And no Melbournians, not as of yet. There's been conversation from the Melbourne crew about.
They'll get on board.
Yeah.
Get on board.
I mean, once they make that public, then that's even better. But yeah, they finally announced In and Out for Loveland. Wow, they just announced In and Out for New Zealand too. So, samesies. Oi, Lucy, how are you? But yeah, so that's all really positive news. It means that we're back on track for organizing teams for for nationals, which obviously
Excellent.
it's been a minute. Another thing that got created for nationals is our amazing Laser Force artist and creator of the overall look that you see here. Marco, he actually put together a logo for Nat, so that's it there. You can see it on your screens, which is pretty cool. Really, really cool, cool design. I'm in the process of figuring out whether or not that design is able to be embroidered. We might be able to do like a simplified version of the design and do some like caps or something. Because I'm nothing if not a capitalist pig. Trying to shake down the community for all the money you have. Oh, Prime sub! Let's. Sky
Who could
penis.
that be?
Oh, thanks, DK. 22 months. On a 1 month streak.
Almost as long as we've been doing the show, with some interruptions.
Yeah, so things are back on track. And as soon as construction is started, because that's probably the last little I don't know, checkbox, I think, or one of the major checkboxes that needs to be checked off. I'll make sure I let everyone know that the construction has started as soon as it gets started. Sweet. So start booking your flights, kids. Come and see us. Reconstruction, are there maze alterations planned? No, is the short answer to that. No.
Next question.
Partially because they just want to get up and running, and all the bones are there already. It's not so much replacing a lot of that stuff. It's replacing the external walls. So yeah, everything will look new. It'll be the same layout and the same maze, and we've got the doors that you can actually take out and move around the maze, so you kind of change up some of the stuff there. I don't know if there's a lot of scope to actually make massive maze changes, or any necessity to do it. So it'll still be the same maze. It'll just have new walls, new floors. And the next major thing after that is probably implementing a new design scheme. So I think that's one thing that'll be a major change is creating a new theme to the site. So
you mean like like art and paint and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Okay.
which is all cosmetic stuff. Because at the moment, for anyone that's played Auckland Arena, we don't really have a theme as such. I mean, there's like there's like space marines and aliens and stuff that's sort of randomly painted on some of the walls. But for the most
It's
part,
like vaguely space themed.
yeah. But I think you can do more. And one of the things that I was saying was, well, it might be a little bit on the nose, but like a dystopian cityscape, which is it's probably one of the one of the easier things to do, because all you need to do is like graffiti the walls. At the bare minimum, just put a bunch of graffiti on the walls, but you still want it to look good. But I was saying to the owners, like, I know I've got some people that I know that are graffiti artists, that might be interested in throwing some stuff up. So, are they going to save you a wall? I mean, I don't know how long it takes you to do a mural, Lucy, but I don't know if you'll have time to paint one. But if you want to paint something,
challenge accepted.
Just reach out and ask them. But I can ask them on your behalf. But if you want to figure out what you'd like to paint, there may be.
Just come in and do a very covert llama in a corner somewhere.
Maybe. You have to leave Lucy paint a wall. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not up to me. It's not my business, so
don't peer pressure us. We don't control these things.
Yeah. Hey, in the brave words of our oh, actually I can't do it here. Yeah, I've added some stuff to the soundboard, just not here.
Oh.
Hang on.
It was almost so good.
I could play it here in the kind words of our good friend Dolly. All right, Saver. Like you're preaching this to the converted. I got no say over what happens in there. But yeah, so cosmetic stuff is probably the yeah. That was fast, Stanley. It was real fast. So that's the aesthetic stuff. So like the aesthetics of the maze can be relatively easy, but you just have to, I don't know, you could get kind of creative with it. Maybe even if you just like go in with a bunch of fluoro paint and tape and just put high vis everywhere. That can be enough for the public, but it'd be really cool to have a cool theme. Something that when people actually walk into the arena, they're just like, "Wow, this place is cool," because that's the difference between you as a dedicated laser tag site and an FEC. Because the FEC have why would we go just play laser tag? We go to FEC and do bowling and arcades and all that shit. So yeah, yeah, that's a good idea, Stanley. But yeah, so that's where things are at with Auckland. So start booking your flights. If you want to join us for our road trip after the tournament ends, you're more than welcome to do that. Let me know. Send me a private message and let me know if you want to tag along with us. Because I'm in the process of organizing basically the itinerary.
Private jets, tour buses, limousines, things of this
stuff.
nature.
I mean, if we had enough people with tour buses on the cards, that would be really cool. I would love that, because that means I don't have to drive. And
I'm sure that thing will smell great after 5 days.
Oh yeah, buddy. All right. Let's move on past that. So I'm gonna leave that logo up there because it's really cool. This is you letting me know. Nice to meet you. I already know you want to come. Yeah, right. So, before we get to nationals, there's something else in the works, which is, really exciting. What's happening, DK? What's going on?
We got the duos coming up next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is probably, I guess, a day later, Tuesday through Thursday for you down under type folks, since you're in the future and whatnot.
Yeah. We're ahead of the game.
But it should be streaming to the Laser Force Tournaments Twitch channel. If that doesn't work for whatever reason, Beans can't be forced to get out of bed to give people a token. Whatever, we'll put it on the Loveland SM5 Twitch channel. So if it's not on one, it'll be on the other. I'm sure somebody will post it to that Bookface group thing.
I mean, it kind of makes sense for it to be just on the Loveland one, seeing as they've got it already set up, right? But
that would be kind of convenient.
I guess it's the followership. So like with it being on,
it's the followership and just kind of tradition of Laser Force tournaments has been just kind of the agreed upon. This is where people go to watch the tournament streams and stuff like that. But
unless I'm
just
there,
saying,
then it's on
we
the
have backup options, and I assume the same will be during Nats.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Fuck you, Laser Force tournaments. The Resupply gets exclusive streaming rights.
Exclusive. Yeah, that's awesome. So when do you go? When are you flying out?
I will be flying out on Sunday, before they get any more of that lovely snow stuff. They're expecting a bit while we're supposed to be there, but I think over the 3 days, we're basically going to get less snow than we got in one night the last time.
Oh shit! Really?
So I don't think it'll be really that big of an issue. And
yeah.
It also wasn't that big of an issue last time either. I'm just glad that we didn't have to drive to Loveland while that was going on. Like getting to and from the airport's the hardest part.
Yeah, because it's what's that drive like? About 45 minutes to an hour, something like that.
Yep, or an hour 20 if you're driving on the spare.
Oh yes, suck it then.
Uh-huh.
Will we do anything special in terms of streaming Nats? Streaming internationals will be right here on the Resupply podcast. Well, not podcast, right here on the Resupply channel. Because I'm a control freak. Yeah, I don't like giving up my spotlight. Fuck that noise.
In terms of other duos stuff, boy, it would help if I had bothered to open up the event or have some kind of research in front of me. But
you can see my screen, right?
Yeah. So
hang on, let me.
So yeah, it's going on. I just trying to remember the hours and stuff. I think it's like 9 to 4, 9 to 5 each day, something like that. Who knows?
Oh, that doesn't help. It gives. Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay,
well,
no time.
maybe it's not even
in the
on
morning
there.
Until the night, right?
I think we're starting at 9 each day, but don't quote me on that. I'm sure Tucker can fill us in on what the relevant details are there.
Yeah.
Playing, I think, until they open in the afternoon. But I have been told by the powers that be that if people want to continue playing after the tournament has concluded for the day, that you can basically play alternating games off with the public. We just don't have exclusive use, but you can still play more games. I think until they close.
Awesome.
Essentially, and it's either $20 a day or $30 for both days if you want to play extra games, which I'm sure I do, as long as I don't have more work that I need to get done, since this is yet another working vacation. Gotta love those. And so that should be fun, and hopefully we will get maybe some more Nats practice type stuff, most likely streamed to the Loveland SM5 or the Laser Force Tournaments page. So that will hopefully be fun and interesting for people. Because I think we're going to have our full 6 that we're planning for our team to go to Auckland. We're all going to be there. And in fact, we're 3 of the duos that are going to be in the tournament. So hopefully we're going to shore up our teamwork and get to know each other and run some more scrimmages. I think it'll be fun.
Do you think that there's a scenario during the duos where the 6 of you will be together in a team? Or
that would be interesting. I'm hopeful that will happen at some point.
Yeah.
I assume it will all depend on how the bracketing shakes out and stuff like that. I haven't seen Luke's algorithm, but I trust that he has a good one and that things will come together somehow.
Yeah, right on. Should happen at some point. The position might be wrong. Yeah, I mean, but you guys are all capable enough to, play whatever.
Yeah, that could be a fun variation too.
Yeah. And like might also put some combinations together that you might not have otherwise considered for internationals, right? which is always fun. It's always nice to have backup, and I think part of playing any tournament, any internationals tournament is having opportunities to play with the lineup.
Yeah.
Because I remember one year, but it was a Sacramento tournament. Might have been, it was one when me and Baden were on the same. It was when we played together.
That was our team in 2012.
2012, right?
No, that was 2012.
2012. And we changed up the lineup because initially like I was gonna play heavy and I think Baden was gonna play scout, and he was like, "Look, my back is fucked. I can't play scout. Can I play heavy?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you don't need to use your back at heavy at all.
No. Yeah, so that's kind of, that'll be cool to run, run some combos, which would be nice. To answer your question
God, if only Than hadn't died his ammo that game. I'm just gonna die mad.
Suck it, Than. Yeah, because that was the difference between fourth and third, right? Or
no, it was potentially the difference between third and second. Like it's not for sure we would have made second.
Did we come third?
Had he lived, but yeah, we came third.
Oh, yeah, for us.
Yeah, like decisively third. Like we were almost second.
Right. I couldn't remember. It was the difference between like podium or something. I couldn't remember. To answer your question from before, Shawnee, so initially when Auckland when the new owners took over, like the thought was to try and get switchable CCTV cameras in the maze so that whoever was doing the commentating could actually switch the cameras, but just with COVID and now like these floods and stuff, it's not really on the cards anymore, I don't think. Which is a real shame. I don't need to use my back to play heavy. No.
Well, you need to.
Yeah, you need to use your backpack to play heavy.
You need to use your back.
Yeah, it's really cool. Dude, you must be amped. You must be so excited to like go and play some tag.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I'm real jealous. So like, I thought about it before. I don't think I've played any lasers this year. And
probably not, because I feel like the bad stuff started happening like right after the holidays.
That's right, because it happened a week after they came back. So that was the first week that we were like planning on playing, and then that happened. In fact, it was the week they were back. We tried to run a members night, and people were unavailable. So,
why?
Yeah,
you gotta show up, guys. Don't take it for granted. You never know how quickly it can disappear.
Hopefully I'm going to play some tag in Brisbane at the end of the month, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, that may or may not be a thing that happens. DK, and you're going to pop off? Hell yeah. What position? You guys are obviously gunning for first.
Yeah. When do I ever gun for anything else? Well, 2018. Other than that, when do I ever gun for anything else?
Who did you play with in 2018? Oh, that was the
Oakley boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the Oakley boys.
That's right. I mean, you say that, and like prior to the tournament, because we had the same conversation when we played for the Average Joes. The conversation was, "Hey, we're just gonna go play for fun." And I was like, "Of course, yeah, we're gonna go play for fun." And as soon as we started playing, something switched.
Yep.
And playing for fun, it was still fun, but it did have a different feel to it. The next time you play, you end up playing a 6,000th game. Smalley, that's friggin' sweet. Friggin' sweet.
Climb those leaderboards.
Yeah, and with the, because who's in first at the mo? Is it Rusty in first at the mo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Rusty's still ahead by quite a bit.
He's about to retire, so,
That one guy, I don't know who it is, that one guy in Germany has, like, piled up a ton of games.
Oh, really?
Super, super quick, yeah. Like, cracks the top 10 and is, like, very quickly climbing the leaderboard.
Joker?
So I assume he plays, like, most days.
Yeah, most days against the public and, which is cool. It was
Games
good.
are games. I'm
Games are
just saying,
games.
if you look at who's played the most, it's a lot of people I know, but there are definitely people on there. I'm like, I don't know who that person is.
Smalley, I'm gonna say this in public right now. If you come to nationals, I'll make you a cake. I'll personally make you a cake. Yeah, yeah. And she's like, I'm definitely not coming.
How many times has Rusty retired?
Every year.
It's definitely been a few.
Yeah. Although, yeah.
I'll believe he's retired when we're scattering his ashes in the Brisbane maze.
Yeah, the newly opened mini golf that's dedicated to Rusty. Or when they bring back the death stairs. They named them. Yeah, yeah. They named them the how did we let this happen stairs is what they're gonna be called. There we go. Don't shake your head, you loved it.
Boo. A groan's as good as a laugh, people.
He's like Night Owl for retiring. I don't know. Night Owl has he's a little bit more committed to the bit, and I would say at this point so is Traj. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Traj this year. I don't know if he's coming to Auckland. I hope he does. I really hope he does.
My understanding was that he was coming but was not planning to play, and that
Yeah.
he volunteered generously, foolishly, to be head referee.
What an idiot. You should hold me to that, Smalling. I'll make you a cake. It's gonna be awesome. But you have to come. You have to come here. Buy a flight. Buy a flight. So with duos incoming, do you recall how many duos there are? I can't remember.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah.
I think we have, I want to say like 30 plus people at the tournament.
Wow. That's awesome. I love when
Take a
people
guess. I don't know.
like show
16,
up.
17?
It's so important. Make sure you show up, kids. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing how Morange does actually in the Loveland Arena.
Oh yes, Morange is gracing us with his presence.
Obviously, he's representing us here at Auckland. So yeah, I hope that he puts in a good showing. I think he will. Loveland seems to be one of those mazes that kind of favors, maybe favors taller people a little bit, because you get the
There
opportunity.
are definitely a few shots that taller people can make that others of us cannot. But that said, there are also areas of the Loveland maze where it pays to be a little bit smaller. More compact. So
Absolutely.
it's a mix. I
think,
wouldn't necessarily say it favors taller players, but I don't think it punishes them either.
No. I think anytime you're shooting from a level down to another level, that's a good opportunity for taller players because you can kind of lean over the sidewalls a little bit better than some of us shorter players can. He's fairly like quick for a big dude too, so I think that'll kind of benefit him getting up and down those ramps.
It just depends how you do with the altitude.
Yeah, oh, that's true. He's got dodgy knees too, so anytime people with dodgy knees are trying to attack ramps, it's just oof. Don't forget to buy your oxygen. Exactly right.
Oh, I'm planning to stop by that Walmart, Smalley. Don't worry.
Did I ever tell you I came across a supermarket trolley full of those things here at the dump shop? I was like, oh,
Nice.
Oh, I don't know if I want to buy a bulk dump shop oxygen. That might go really well. They're sold out. Oh my god! You're gonna unplug the hazer each day. The fuck is
thank
that?
God.
What's a hazer?
The fog machine.
Oh, boo!
Somehow, like the combination of the altitude and their fog machine, for whatever reason, it hasn't bothered me in some other arenas. But I don't know if it's just their formula or the combo with the altitude or whatever. The first game that I play there all the time, if they have it on there, it feels like I'm breathing razor blades and broken glass by the time I get out. Like if it's just the altitude, that's one thing, but the two of them together, ooh, it's rough.
Old gravel lungs. You almost killed Odin by accident. The asthma was killing them. Oh, It's such a weird. It must be an altitude thing. Although, like, I don't know, like we are at sea level here pretty much, and like it's so dense when you have it at sea level. I don't know. Maybe it's just it dries out more at altitude. I don't know, some sort of science. That's I'm so stoked that you guys get to play though. I'm looking forward to watching all that I can. Although, and you probably know this, anytime you watch a tournament, a Laser Force event, it's a bittersweet thing because you're just like, oh, this is so cool to see these games being played out, but also hearing all the sound effects and, you know, if you've got commentary, you could hear, like, you know, all the stuff that's happening outside of the arena as well. And yeah, it's so bittersweet. It's painful almost.
And you're like,
yeah. Yeah.
I want some crack.
Yeah, I got these cheeseburgers, man. Yeah. Do you know? Actually, that's a point. Do you? Yeah, March from the arena, exactly. Do you know if?
You have 2 nukes already.
Right. So, yeah, I was going to ask that. Speaking of, we're trying to get a mic set up to work as commentary for the 4 days. That's awesome. Are you going to have it as, like, rolling commentary, or have you got some people specifically to do that? Although if you've got 32 people, you said, that's enough to have players, refs, and then a couple people doing commentary. So, that's pretty cool. Maybe you have a... What's your problem, mates? Literally nothing. Nothing happened. Oh, it might be the clip. That's weird. That's
maybe
weird.
maybe that's what it is.
Shit. I can't remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Can't remember. Greetings from Loveland.
We're talking about rolling commentary teams.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you could have.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit.
You could have duos doing the commentary, which would be kind of cool. So if you have,
add another assignment tab.
Yeah, you guys are on now. Fuck.
Play, ref, commentate.
Yeah. Marcus, nice to see you, bro. Hopefully the week goes well for you. Stoked for you, you crazy jet setter. Yeah, so that would be kind of cool to have your duo on commentary, because then you can kind of talk about specifically, like, you know, how your last game went, or, you know, or whatever.
Randomly just start yelling at each other like a married couple.
It would have been good, except you missed your doubles. Oh yeah, well, I wouldn't have missed my doubles if you weren't giving it all this. You know, that sort of tone deaf commentary on marriage. Yeah, so somebody bought all the Walmart oxygen. That's not cool. Who else has already arrived for the tournament? Because I would look at them. It's probably them. Unless Laser Force bought it all and they're planning on putting a markup. That's what they should do. Nice. That's what they should do. The fuck is Walmart oxygen? It's oxygen.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Oxygen you buy from Walmart. And honestly, for me, Stallion, it was a lifesaver. It's like a little air tank that you can buy, just of pure oxygen. Yeah. It's good shit. I mean, I don't know about good shit, but it was definitely, like, needed. I was in real trouble. It's vape. I bought that sweet maple syrup flavored oxygen from Walmart. Does America not have oxygen in the atmosphere? Yeah, they do. But because
but there's money to be made.
yeah. For suckers buying, you know, canned air. But basically, because you're playing at altitude, it's really hard, or at least for those who aren't acclimatized to it, it's hard. It was really hard for me to catch my breath, mostly because I'm unfit, but also because you're playing at altitude. The air's thinner.
If you're not used to it,
it's brutal. Like, after the first game, I felt like I was dying. And yeah, the oxygen just helps you be able to catch your breath back, pretty much. Yeah, it was gnarly. Colorado exists in a vacuum. Exactly right. You need oxygen in a vacuum. Have you got your team shirt? Or is that a surprise?
I do not know.
Oh.
I'll have to let you know.
Wait, who's your partner again?
Kadama.
Konama, that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I assumed that the shirt shop were doing your guys' stuff.
Maybe.
Pass. Okay, so you were the one making. All right, I got you.
I will have to check with my local supplier on that one.
Someone saw the villain from the Lorax movie and went, "That looks like a good business idea." Yeah, exactly right. You have to compensate with it with gallons of iced tea. I'm not sure that those things are interchangeable. Iced tea is so gross, man. Yuck. Yuck. I don't like it. Do you even have time? I don't understand.
Don't worry about it.
Okay,
Don't worry about it.
don't worry
Things
about
are in the works.
Could always
Just
buy the
relax.
Loveland Duo shirt. Have you got a shirt? Have you guys got a shirt there that you could buy, Tucker?
I mean, if there's another shirt, I probably would end up buying one.
Yeah, right. Because why not? Buy all
Because
the
you know,
merch.
I need at least 3 Laser Force shirts for every day of the week.
Yeah, of course. What else are you going to wear? A suit?
Mhm.
I don't think so. A towel? No. Is it one of those big shirts that can fit 2 people? Oh, like my regular
Oh, that would have
clothes.
been good.
Got a big ass shirt here. John made one. Oh, so I assume, is he selling it on his site? I don't know. But yeah,
Don't know. We'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm real glad for you guys though. I can't wait to watch some high quality duo shenanigans take place. Because yeah, I don't get to play, so I just get to watch and pretend like I'm not sad inside.
Steve likes to watch.
I like to watch. Let the boy watch. Right. What else are we going to talk about? Or is there anything else in the duos that you want to talk about?
I think that's mostly it. I'm just excited to see how it goes and what the rotation's like, and be nice just to play some games.
Be nice to see people again. Feels like a minute since it's happened. Like a year almost, right? Is that the last tournament that happened? Was Colorado?
No, we had the St. George event that was
yeah.
November.
That's
early
right.
November, maybe.
Oh, and then you guys had
That
your
sounds right to me.
weird makeshift members night thing.
Yeah, we had just a quick popover trip to Colorado, so this one will be a little bit longer.
Yeah. Right on. Cool. Ooh, you get to play.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna talk about a post that got brought up on the tournaments page, just around like the shielding rule. I don't know if you wanna. Do you want to go into that too much?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can at least touch on it because this is something that I have brought up to a few players over the years. And it would be nice at least to revisit both the wording of the shielding rule and also if I'm off base on something like this in terms of interpretation, maybe Trad or something like that can watch this and let me know if there's a different like rules as interpreted versus rules as written that we can get into here.
So I remember that's where the door shirt is. If anyone wants to buy a shirt, rapidfirecompetitive.myspreadshop.com. My spread shop. Loveland Duos. That's cool design. My rapid fire was cancelled by my medic.
Rapid fire's cheap.
Yeah. Calm down, scouts. Cool your jets. Wow, there's a lot of that. Man, John Calkins is really bitter about something. Rapid Fire Competitive, that's cool. That's cool. If you want some cool merch, go check that shop out. That one there. Right. So when I first started playing, just because you're more people. When I first started playing, we got it drilled into us that really you can't raise your arms up here and shoot down onto someone, because the likelihood is, because at the time the chest wasn't a hittable hit zone. if you raise your gun up like this, then your arms are now blocking your shoulders. As you can pretty much see, there's a screenshot that Russ took, and you can just barely see. I think it's Tucker. It looks like Tucker shooting up. He's got his gun up. He's shooting down, and you could just barely see one of his shoulders. It's probably likely that the person that he's shooting at, who was kind of horizontally at his
For sure,
level,
that's Bagel.
right, can't see his shoulders, which means that you're now shielding your hit zones. I guess.
Right, you're not shielding under part 1 because you're still showing a visible hit zone to the opponent, which is
your gun.
Chest.
Oh.
Right, so part A says you can't target someone unless you have an unobstructed line of sight to at least one of the opponent's visible hit zones, or are sighting directly over the phaser barrel.
And that the chest is a visible hit zone, right? That's been changed.
The chest is a visible hit zone. Chest and shoulders are both visible hit zones.
Cool.
Just the gun is not.
The gun's right.
The gun is a hit zone, but it's not a visible hit zone.
Right. Okay. I thought it was.
So you have to show the gun and at least one of your shoulders, or gun and chest.
Okay.
So that part is fine because there has to be a line of sight back to the targeting player's shoulder or chest hit zones.
Mm-hmm.
So at least one of those. Right. So that part is fine. There's no violation there. It's parts B and C that we need to be mindful of in this kind of case. Because I think, based on what you showed me here, there might be a misunderstanding that arose in the discussion, because it looked like Luke was thinking that Russ says that Josiah is shielding, but that's not what I think either of us are seeing here. So Josiah is fine as far as I know here, but so part B of the shielding rule says a player may not deliberately block with any part of their body, clothing, or equipment an opponent's shot at the visible hit zones of any other player. Okay, sorry, that's other players. It's part C, the one we're looking for. A player, when not targeting an opponent, may only use their torso and or permanent field constructions and or another hit zone to block an opponent's shot or attempted shot in their hit zones, provided they're not breaching A or B. Right. Well, let's see. When not targeting an opponent.
So
actually, this is a more interesting edge case than I thought.
What I might do, because we sort of briefly talked about this before we went live. What I might do is quickly switch across to this scene here. It's gonna look a little funky. Bear with us.
No. Okay, so I have it now. So this is relative to the player that you're targeting. So he is not shielding relative to Josiah, right? Because Josiah can still see his chest, and he is targeting Josiah. That is the target. So that's covered under Part A. However, anybody else who is attempting to shoot Tucker, like from this angle, from our perspective, he's shielding relative to them because he is not targeting them, but he is blocking his shoulders with his arms, not his torso.
Yeah, right. So if they try to shoot his shoulders, they are unable to do that.
Right. So anytime that you're coming over the top like that, if it's your arm that basically is in between the shoulder zone and somebody else who is trying to target you, then you're in violation of Part C.
Because you're not allowed to block any hit zone with anything that's not a permanent field construction or your torso. Is that correct?
Right. When you're not targeting an opponent, you can only use your torso and or permanent field constructions or another hit zone. So you can block a shoulder with a shoulder or shoulder with the chest.
Which is why
you're just shoving one for another.
But
that's not what's happening here, right? It's not the chest is not blocking the shoulder. It's the arm that is blocking the shoulder. Like if I'm on this side over here and I'm in front of Tucker, like I can't shoot this shoulder. Like you guys can see my cursor. You can't shoot his right shoulder, our left of our perspective.
This
here.
one, yeah.
You can't shoot that one because it's behind his arm. So his arm, not his torso, is what's blocking that.
You've had a discussion about this before of someone twisting their arms and blocking the sensors. Yeah, so the way that we got brought up playing, because we anytime we play competitions, we're playing usually with the Brisbane people, and we played back in the day with Gen 5 and Gen 5 suits. And so basically it was a thing that you couldn't like stand in a hallway and like you give 50% in the hallway, and then instead of like just standing there and like letting them pass, you attempt to like raise your arms and shoot them. That was usually considered shielding, because I think at the time, the obviously the chest wasn't a hit zone,
so it absolutely was shielding before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that part may have changed.
Okay.
So the only operative thing here is that it says that you can't block an opponent's shot or attempted shot. So here's where the kind of interpretation edge case comes in. So is Tucker potentially shielding right here in this example? Yes. But is he blocking anyone's attempted shot on those zones? Not necessarily, because you can make the case, well, if nobody is actively trying to shoot him, then it's not a violation. Yeah. But as soon as somebody tries, now he's shielding. The kind of the tighter interpretation of the rule would be that unless somebody's trying to shoot you, you're not in violation of it. Whereas the kind of the looser construction there would be, well, the intent of the rule is to stop you from doing this.
Yeah.
But there is nothing inherently illegal in the rules about raising your arms above your head.
Yeah.
That's not inherently illegal.
So, and it kind of, I don't know, it kind of, in this particular instance, because his intention is he's trying to shoot Josiah. He's not trying to block his senses from anyone else trying to shoot him.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't know, to be like, well, he's, if from the point of view of the photo being taken, we're trying to shoot Tucker in his shoulder versus Tucker in his chest, it's so, you couldn't differentiate that. Like, how are they, because you're probably going to hit him in the chest, even if you were aiming at the shoulder because of the IR. So,
yeah, but I'm not able to target his shoulder. So I am attempting to get a shot on him, and he is blocking one of his hit zones.
Yeah, so, but he's not blocking all of them.
No, but that only applies under Part A. Part C says you can't block any of the hit zones.
Yeah, and so my point is, there might need to be some, rewording or reworking of this, because I mean,
no, not really, because one deals with when you're targeting someone, the other says specifically when you're not targeting someone, so it covers both cases.
Yeah. So if we as the camera person are trying to now shoot Tucker in his shoulder, then Tucker is technically shielding and should be penalized.
Right, because he's not targeting me. I'm trying to take a shot at him. Yeah. Right. He can only use his torso or field constructions to block it, not his arm, not his legs.
Yeah, but that's kind of dumb, right? Because you as the player who's the camera person trying to shoot Tucker will likely try and shoot him in the chest, because that's the biggest visible target that we can see. But if they instead of shooting here, they shoot here, how is a referee supposed to determine that? It doesn't. It's not. I don't think it's in the best kind of spirit of the gameplay as such. It's
okay, but I mean, but let me give you another example that if someone were to do that, and we're then just like, if someone were trying to break a lock from me trying to shoot or something like that,
or like a missile lock,
wall and doing this, like, that would clearly not be okay.
No, that's right. And
so we're talking here about, like, this is a very specific kind of edge case, but it's basically why we always tell players, especially newer players, stay in the box. Don't go above the box.
Keep your triangle.
Either you could be violating Part A or Part C of the shielding rule.
Yeah. And I think part of an issue with this is that we teach it one way. So we teach people not to do this, and then people still do this, and it's not policed. So the people that are playing potentially within the rules, are maybe disadvantaged because they are following the rules. Whereas this is a very hard thing to police. Yeah.
And it's not something I would usually worry about, but it is important that people at least be aware of the wording of the rules.
Yeah.
But I've made the case for a while that there are definitely people who sometimes can skirt the line when they're trying to do, like, the missile dodge dance, getting right up to somebody. Because right? You can lean over because you're just using your torso to move around and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But potentially, if somebody drops down to try to get a low angle shot and you turn away from them like this, it could be your arm that is blocking that kind of thing. Which again is like, that's on the referee to police, and I don't know that anybody would actually penalize in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But right, doing that versus raising your arms above your head or covering your chest like this or something,
or like folding in half. You know, that was a big thing back in the day. We had players that could essentially fold in half, and now your legs are blocking your shoulders and your gun.
Right. So that's why the advice is always, well, you can bend to run away, 90. But you shouldn't go more than 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's right. Although we did have people that somehow they could go past 90 and still sprint away. I could never understand the physics of how dudes are able to do that. It was crazy.
When I was younger, perhaps.
Josiah can't. Yeah, it's bullshit. But that's the thing. You're not really supposed to. You're not supposed to bend past 90 because then your legs are the ones usually blocking the shoulders or blocking the gun. Because to do that, you have to kind of tuck your phaser in. Yeah. It also says deliberate, and sometimes it's hard to prove. Well, I guess with deliberate...
Well, deliberate's for part B. That applies to blocking somebody else's shot.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I see somebody target my medic and I just go and cover their shoulder with my hand, like, that's clearly deliberate.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm just like, oh, that sort of thing.
Which has happened.
To address Konoma's other point, that's what part A is for. That's about the difference between blocking all visible hit zones versus any visible hit zones. Part A says that in order for a shot to be legal, you have to have line of sight, and you have to be showing at least one of your visible hit zones. So you can't block all of your visible hit zones, but you can block 2 out of 3 with the field constructions.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's just the difference. It's when you're targeting somebody versus when you're not targeting somebody, and it's shielding yourself versus shielding another person, right? So that's why it's such a long rule, because we're basically talking about different instances of things about how your hit zones interact with other players.
This is actually a very site specific thing for the Loveland site. Is there's a shot that gets taken over some of the walls, or the anytime you shoot down to the floor, where people are directly beneath you, a lot of times players will come over that wall gun first, they'll like lean over front ways, or they'll try and get their shoulder over the wall first so that they can reach down. But a lot of the times, a lot of the shots that I see get attempted from those walls, they seem like shielding to me. I don't think that they are clean shots, because a lot of the times people will have their arm up over the wall first, and then their gun will come over. And if people are beneath you, then you can't see anything but the gun. But it's so hard to police that. So I don't know. That's why I really dislike anytime people shoot from a high up place directly down to a bottom story.
It's the directly down
down
thing. If it's at an angle, it's a lot easier.
Well, if you're at the top of the
cases.
ramps, which I can't remember what that little box is called there, not the
at the top of red ramp.
Is that the big
the
switch?
fortress or the fun box? People call it differently.
I can't remember.
I think that's what you're talking about.
If you're standing at the entrance of the maze, looking at the maze, it's the ramps and stuff on the right side. The ramp
that's red side.
Yeah, okay. So at the top of that little area in there, shooting down, because there's pipes and shit that run across the roof as well, so it's hard to get that shot. But I see people all the time, well, at least when I was playing there, reach up and over like that. And yeah, I pinged a few people on that shot, because I'm like, you came over gun first. Like you can't take that shot. But people will try and do that in the heat of, trying to snap off a quick shot to someone.
Well, sure, but that's how a lot of violations happen. They're not people meaning to cheat, but the rules are the rules for a reason.
Yeah,
everybody
the problem
a fair
is
and
being
fighting
able to,
chance to play.
The problem is trying to police that. Like and some people are less inclined to penalize that than others, which means
well, that's a larger meta problem that we've been talking about for years.
Yeah. I think maybe it's as a short, rotund person, I can't take that shot, so no one else should be able to.
Haters gonna hate, in other words.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. The other example that Kodama brings up about getting your chest over, this was something that I brought up the first time we had a Loveland Nats, because there was a player on that Detroit team that I don't like to talk about that would do that to shoot over the walls, would stick his arms all the way out and try to lean over that way.
Yeah.
And I made the same case. I'm like, he's blocking his shoulders. If I'm shooting up at him, I might be able to shoot his chest, but I can't shoot his shoulders because he's covering them like this.
Yeah. And so, I guess, does that fall under this as well? So, if you're shooting from the third floor down at the bottom floor, and maybe it's you and someone else who's next to you looking up at the person, when they lean over to target one person, the person next to them is they're not targeting the person next to them. The person next to them is trying to shoot up at them, but they can't see one of the sensors. That's a shield, right?
Right, but that's a situation where really what's in between their line of sight is the field construction, which is fine.
Not necessarily,
for that part,
because
but
it could be,
but not for you targeting.
It could be like if you're reaching over like that, and you're and from their perspective, your head's blocking one of the shoulders. That's similar to this. I feel that's a similar situation to this, where your head or potentially one of your arms is blocking line of sight to the other shoulder. It's a really tricky thing.
Yeah, that to me would have to be like a very, very specific angle.
It's just, I don't know. It's just is what it is. The same could be said for this though. This is a very specific angle. Just happened to be the one that the camera caught.
Yeah. But in any case, I mean, it's mostly just here to revisit how the shielding rule is written, because I think it's very easy for people to remember one part of the shielding rule and kind of forget the other parts. So it's like parts A, B, and C are all important, but they're important for different reasons dealing with different things. Right. But really, the main thing is these are specific edge cases, but the rules were written to disallow things like covering your shoulders with your hands to try to break somebody's missile lock, or doing something like that, or covering up your partners or your other resupply members thing.
Yeah.
Like things like that, right? Kim says, I don't think it's reasonable to give someone a violation for shielding if they're showing a visible hit zone. Yeah, and I think the kind of discretion's the better part of valor on that for a lot of refs. It's like, can I shoot this person? Yes. So if you can shoot the person if they have a visible hit zone showing, like probably you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So again, in this specific case, if we were the camera person trying to shoot Tucker, it's unlikely that a referee, he's technically shielding, but it's unlikely a referee is going to penalize him in this instance, because for the camera person,
especially because we have a freeze frame, but in the speed of the game, I don't think it would be reasonable for any referee to punch that, specifically because it's clear what Joe's trying to do is he's trying to missile Josiah. If you're trying to avoid being missiled and did one of these up against the wall, then it'd be like, no, that's not cool. You can't do that.
Yeah. So then maybe instead of not so small as you said before, it says deliberate, and sometimes that's hard to prove. Maybe it's about intent. But then you're wading into
into intent only matters for part B.
What's part B again?
That's one where you can't block anyone else's. You can't literally block with any part of your body, clothing, or equipment. Opponent shot visible hit zones of any other player.
I'm talking for part C when
part C doesn't say anything about deliberate.
Well, so that's my point. So he's not. So according to part C, if we were the camera, again talking from the third person, the camera person trying to shoot him. Yeah. According to part C, he's shielding.
By the letter of the law, yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if you had something in there to do with intent, so that would then be like his intention is not to shield his shoulders from camera person trying to take a shot. But if he was doing this, that intent has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be
I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely. If he was doing this and, which I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen in a competitive game of Space Marines.
No, because that's very clearly cheating.
Yeah.
But that's really what the rule was intended to stop. So if we're looking for rules as they're meant to be interpreted, yeah.
So then
So
maybe we that needs to be something that gets added, right? Is the intent for Part C specifically is the intention of blocking blocking a sensor from somebody who was targeting you that you're not targeting on purpose with anything that's you can't do this, don't do this, or put a hoodie on, or something like that. Yeah, shit like that.
Or I mean, really, the case that we sometimes run into in tournaments is asking people to tie their hair back, so it's not blocking their shoulders.
We got
and that's again the same thing. That's Part C of the rule.
Another thing that we got done, we got talked about back in the day. I used to wear a cap in every game I played, and it was always backwards. And I got brought up during a tournament from somebody saying, your cap is potentially going to block one of your shoulders. I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't even realize that was a thing. Cap off. See you later. But, yeah, it's a tough one. We had a game where Luke was trying to missile you and you were avoiding being missiled. I was side onto him, moving my torso, so he was struggling to get a lock, and he moved his gun around the front of me, not his whole body. And his gun got the lock in all three times.
So basically, like you're doing one of these as he's turned around. You're giving him the reach around.
Who's giving the reach around? Is Luke giving the reach around?
Luke's giving the reach around in this case.
Okay. And his gun got the lock in all three tones and got me, but my chest was then facing away from Luke. Is that shielding on you or blind fire from Luke? So Luke's. You're saying that potentially
I'd really have to see the angle. It is theoretically possible that Luke could be shielding in that situation because of Part 2A, where it says the point that's being targeted has to happen outside line of sight back to at least one of the targeting players' shoulder or hit zones.
Which is where sighting down the barrel of your phaser is really important, because whenever you're standing here with sighting down the barrel of your phaser, so you can't really be done for shielding.
I would have to see it, and again, that's where another like interpretation and intention I think are important for a referee to use their judgment. Because really, if I have a player who's just gonna stay face up with me and try to dodge the missile by staying right next to me or something like that, as the ref, I'm gonna give the player who's targeting a lot of leeway in that situation, because it's like, well, this is the only way that they have to missile them. Like, it'd be one thing if the other player were running away trying to get around a wall, something like that.
Yeah, and you went around the wall.
You're kind of then you're definitely giving the benefit of the doubt to the fleeing player in that kind of case. Right, but if somebody's gonna try to face up with me, then I'm like, I should kind of be allowed to try to missile him, even if he sort of turns and I have to guard my phaser bit because I'm still out in the middle of the hallway. But that's another one of those things where it's like letter of the law. Yeah, you could say that's a shielding.
You probably got
that's a judgment case for. Again, I don't think that referees that it's reasonable for a referee to make that kind of decision. But it really depends on the nature of the interaction. That's something I don't feel comfortable making a blanket ruling on.
Is your head part of your torso in the rules? Because
I don't know that the torso is defined.
Because in that instance, if you're Tucker and you're leaning away like this,
I believe by the rules of anatomy, I don't think that the head is part of the torso.
The natural order of things.
But I don't know that torso is a defined glossary term in the course rules.
But so if you're in this instance, if you're Tucker, you're leaning away like this, right? Your head is blocking this back shoulder. So technically you're both shielding.
So offsetting penalties.
Doesn't matter. Play on.
Who cares?
There are some sections in the rule. Look, these rules aren't perfect, but they are.
There is never any rule that's ever been written anywhere that is so perfect that it can cover all edge cases.
Kadama, I'd definitely penalize you for that, but mostly out of jealousy. Is that his phaser?
So
you
got a license for that thing, buddy?
That's non-standard laser force equipment right there. Uh, yeah, there are some. Yeah, I think that the rules where they are now are very good, but there are instances like this where technically you're breaking the rules, but I don't know. There's certain etiquette for this. Oh, is it? Does he call it the pencil? Um, there's certain there's certain etiquette during a Laser Force game that I feel should be adhered to, but I mean it's technically not part of the rules. Like when players do this shit over other players, I hate it because we were brought up not to do that shit. But that's just how things were done, kind of down in the southern hemisphere. Is you don't really move your gun out of this position. Anytime you start doing this, anytime your gun leaves the triangle, anytime the triangle is broken,
it's danger zone.
Yeah, then you're in trouble because again, that comes with your gun. If your gun leaves this spot and starts going sideways like this, you get into trouble. Your gun leaves and goes up high, you get into trouble. Your gun drops down low, you get into trouble. Like these, just shoot like this, people. What's wrong with you? Just only do that. It's a better way to play. Hey, Doughboy. But yeah, I don't know. It's good to like talk about this shit because change happens when people talk about stuff, and change is a good thing for the most part. I'm gonna quickly switch back here and stop calling you old man Than.
Horror.
But yeah, it's definitely worth having the conversation. I haven't read all the way through the.
Oh, what did Dredge say? Because maybe he could.
Here, this one.
I saw. No, above that. Let's see. Chest plate exposed, not shielding. Yeah, so that's part A of the rule, right? He's not shielding relative to Josiah. That's not what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's right. He's shielding relative to camera view. If camera view had a gun, was trying to shoot him.
The targeted shoulders. I don't know about that. So okay, yeah, we can move past that. But yeah, what Trad is talking about is again part A of the rule.
Russ is crazy. Nah. Russ is correct from the point of view. This is shielding. Where's the ref? He's just not shielding against Josiah. Well,
that's why I said I think there's some confusion here about which part of the shielding rule we're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to go over all of them. So that's I think part of what's happening is people may be talking past each other.
Well, his whole thing was about is that none of Josiah's hit zones have line of sight back to Tucker.
From what I can see here, it looks like he's trying to target either Josiah's back or chest, and both of those have a line of sight back to Joe's chest, as far as I understand. Maybe.
It's hard to tell from this, from...
I think so. Again, it's not a situation where I would penalize him in this
I just hate it.
Scenario.
I hate that. I hate this. I hate it. But that's just me. Grumpy Steve. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good thing we have the content, and quickly shout out to Mischief for the content that Mischief's putting out. But it's good we have this stuff because it does spawn conversations that are good to have. Assuming that people have the conversations with respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah, because once you start getting into you're dumb, everyone's dumb. Yeah, so it is what it is. Does anyone in chat wanna add to any of that? Do you guys want to have your 2 cents? Did you want to say anything more when it comes to that kind of stuff, DK?
I think that's about it. I mean, that to me was the biggest thing to cover. Was I want to make sure that everybody's talking about the same part of the shielding rule. Like, are you talking about the targeting player or the targeted player? Are you talking about trying to take a shot versus dodging a shot?
I think maybe
That's about it.
from me, it's we were talking about one thing that is that's actually a legitimate shot, but it's actually spawned a conversation about the part C of the rule, which potentially makes it not a legitimate shot. But that's all hypothetical because the cameraman doesn't have a.
Because the cameraman didn't have a phaser in that situation, so that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, to all of those of you who are, you do have a question? Oh, shoot, chuck it in chat, my friend.
Well, hurry up because I gotta pee.
You don't bring a bottle? I always have like a catheter, like.
Okay, so that's why you aren't afraid of the hydrate bot like I am.
Yeah, that's right. I'll keep smashing them, and and you won't even notice. I'm excited to watch the unfoldings from the duos competition. So Josiah's Ben. Sorry, hang on. So Josiah's Ben. He lets his gun hang between his legs, so it can be targeted as he moves. Is it illegal if he is doing that run down a hallway? Well, his gun's not a visible hit zone. It's not considered a hit zone, right?
Well, it's not a visible hit zone, but Part C doesn't say anything about visible hit zones. It's any hit zone.
Sorry, say that again.
But Part C is any hit zone. It's not just visible hit zones. Visible hit zone only applies on A and B.
So yeah. Sorry, what I mean is that the phaser isn't considered a hit zone.
It's considered a hit zone. It's not considered a visible hit zone.
Right.
And I mean, really, we should honestly this is a side topic. We should probably change the wording of that because visible hit zone doesn't make any sense to anybody who basically started playing Gen 5 or later, which is the vast majority of players at this point. Yeah. Because literally the gun was practically invisible in Gen 4. It didn't have any lights or anything like that. So it literally was not visible to a lot of players. So if you're wondering why that distinction came in, it's because of older generation stuff. So maybe someday we'll update the wording for that. But basically the phaser is different from other hit zones is the best way to say that.
So based on that question then, if he bends over and lets his phaser hang between his legs, so it can be targeted.
That to me is like, that doesn't say anything. Like, if you were blocking your shoulders with your legs, it doesn't matter that you're showing another hit zone or not. That's why, again, Part C deals with you can't block any of your hit zones if you're not trying to target
with anything other than your torso,
or field construction. So if you're blocking with your arms or your legs, so if you're bent, it's your torso.
Yeah, and unless he's bent further than that, in which case he's blocking his chest center with chest or shoulders with his
we can talk about it in person. That's fine. I don't, without the kind of visual aids or things like that, I don't necessarily want to get into blanket rulings here or say something that I need to correct later.
Who cares? Say shit all the time I probably shouldn't say. His head can almost touch his knees. Lucky. If you're working with what Kodama's working with, lucky. Apparently. New charity stream donation award, Steve-O Piss Jar. I don't think that's gonna leave my drawer. Alright, we'll finish up because some of us has got to pee. Some of us don't. Some of us do.
Some of us.
And we're lucky it's only that you got to pee, to be fair. I hope that those of you who are attending the Loveland Duos tournament have an amazing week. I'm sure that you will. I'm very, very jealous that you guys get to play highly competitive laser tag with all of our friends, and I don't, but whatever. I look forward to checking out the action on stream, wherever that's going to be. If you don't already follow them, there's Laser Force tournaments on Twitch, and there's Loveland SM5 on Twitch. We should probably I think I've got shortcuts up there, but I can't remember what they are. Follow those channels. It's well worth your time. Coming up this week, we have we'll be back into more Hogwarts. We're still continuing to raise funds for Rainbow Youth New Zealand. So if you wanna come check out the stream and donate some money, that'd be much appreciated. We will be doing that during the week. We're gonna do that until we finish the game. So hopefully it's like another 2 weeks of that. We'll be doing some. Hopefully we'll be back with Thunderdome Thursday this week with our friend Truly Awful. So we'll see what happens there. We'll probably be doing a catch up. Are you back home by next week, or are you gonna still be in?
I should
Colorado?
be. I will keep you updated if anything changes, but I should be available for the show next week.
Hopefully we can do a recap of what happened at Duos for you next week. That's the the topic that makes the most sense. So yeah, we'll be back for that, and then I think I might be away or something. Maybe show off a cool trophy. Ooh, maybe. Hopefully you get a trophy.
Do my best.
What's that? That's that day. I'm away the last weekend of the month. I'll be in Australia. Hopefully I can play some lasers while I'm there. We will see. We'll see what happens. But for this week, this one right here that we're currently in, I've been Guy Next Door.
And I've been DK.
Thank you very much for joining us today, kids. We really appreciate you hanging out with us, talking about laser tag. Always remember to backtrack. We will see you next week. Ka kite anō.
I've been throwing daggers these places I wanna go.